DC, you did it! I knew you had it in you. So Wonder Woman tells the story of Princess Diana, Princess of the Amazons, leaving her Amazonian island Themyscira for the first time to discover the world of men, try and stop World War I, and become Wonder Woman. I'm not even going to beat around the bush, people. I've already shown you my excitement in my intro. Yes, Wonder Woman is an awesome, fantastic movie. It's a great superhero film. It's a great origin story. One of the best origin stories I've ever seen. It's definitely the best movie so far this summer, and it's one of the best movies I've seen so far this year. And it might even beat out Man of Steel as the best DCEU movie. I'm on the fence about that, and I'm a huge fan of that movie, so that's saying a lot. So all of us DC fans, let's just go ahead and take a collective breath.
Want to see my Green Lantern ring?
No.
Another good movie. Thank you. Thank you. We are crawling out of the depths of hell of 2016, finally. We have another great DC movie. Thank you. Seriously, people, if you're a DC fan, I mean, it's been a little bit scary lately. Not only was last year really disappointing for most of us. I know Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad have their fans, but for the most part, a lot of us were disappointed by those movies. There's no secret in that. And all of this news that's been coming out about all the changes, all the drama, all these announced projects while not finishing the projects that are already in motion, all the craziness of the DCEU, and a lot of us did not have very much hope left. Well, I'm here to tell you that if nothing else, Wonder Woman gives you extreme hope and extreme optimism for what's to come in the DCEU. But enough about the future. Let's talk about this movie. That's what we're here to talk about, right? Wonder Woman. So, the star of Wonder Woman, that's where I want to start off. I was one of those people who was worried about Gal Gadot. I was really on the fence. I wasn't sure if they were just picking her because she was a pretty face or because they were trying to make a star out of somebody from the Fast and the Furious franchise. I wasn't sure about her acting ability, if she can be able to carry a movie. And this is easily one of the most anticipated and one of the most iconic female roles in Hollywood history. So it's very important to nail the casting. Well, I'm here to say it, people. I'm a believer in Gal Gadot. They nailed the casting. I absolutely fell in love with her over the runtime of Wonder Woman. The story that we've heard for a couple years now is that when Gal Gadot sat down for the casting session for this role with Zack Snyder and a few WB execs, they saw a spark in her. They saw something there, and regardless of everybody's hate, regardless of everybody's doubt, they casted her with extreme confidence, and I'm telling you, people, you will see the spark by the end of this movie. You'll see it within the first 30 minutes, if I'm being totally honest. She is charming, she is electrifying, especially her smile. She just has this beauty about her that embodies that character of Wonder Woman. You see the strength, you see the value, you see everything that that character needs to bring to the screen to really convey who that character is, because most of us aren't really familiar with the actual core elements of that character aside from the fact that what we saw in the old incarnations of the TV show. She brings everything to the forefront, and even the side of the character that's a little bit naive because she's somebody who's been on the secluded island for so long, and now she's in the world of man. She's in the world of all these flaws, of all this death, of all this hate. All of that naivety of her character comes through in her performance really easily. It's almost like it was second nature for her, and it blew me away watching that. I was like, holy crap, she is nailing this.
Yep, that's not gonna work. Please put the sword down, Diana. Diana.
Let me try it by myself.
After you, sir.
And another part of her performance that she really nails is the chemistry and the back and forth between her and her love interest, Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine. And Chris Pine is the other strongest part of this movie. They were amazing together. They are one of the very few couples in a superhero movie, one of those love interest couples that you immediately buy into, and you're really emotionally invested in their journey, in their relationship, and at the end of the day, you want to see more about them. It's no longer about, I want to see some badass action. I want to see what's going to go on between those two characters.
The millions of people you talked about, they will die.
We are going anyway.
You mean you were lying?
I'm a spy, that's what I do.
How do I know you're not lying to me right now?
I am taking you to the front. We are probably gonna die.
And Chris Pine, let me tell you, man, I have not seen Chris Pine give a bad performance yet. That guy can do no wrong in my eyes so far. I love him as Captain Kirk. I love a lot of the independent stuff that he's done, like when he popped up in Smoking Aces, one of his first roles. The dude is just awesome. And in this, he has got the same qualities that he has when he brings Captain Kirk into this new incarnation. He's got the charm, he's got the wit, he's got the humor, and you really understand why Princess Diana would really gravitate towards this guy, Steve Trevor, as kind of her example for what a man is supposed to be, because he has all of these characteristics and all of these traits that you would want to be exemplified in your ideal man. He's got a lot of charm, he's got a lot of dignity, he really wants to fight the war in World War I, he wants to take out the bad guys at all costs, even if it costs him his life. He is ready to put all that on the line. And that's awesome, and that's totally why they go together so well as a couple, because Diana has those same exact characteristic traits. She wants to fight regardless what happens to her because it's the right thing to do, and so does Steve Trevor. And I'm not going to get into all of them, but I will say that pretty much every single side character nails their performance, and they really fit their piece into this story in this movie really well. All the Amazonians like Connie Nielsen and Robin Wright, they all do really great, and they really have that badass warrior quality. This island is basically the Spartans from 300, but women, and they're badass. Lucy Davis is really funny and really entertaining in the small part that she has as Etta Candy. All of the little ragtag group that tags along with Steve Trevor into battle in the third and about halfway through the second act of this movie, they're really funny. They're very similar to the ragtag group that Steve Rogers and Bucky Barnes put together in Captain America: The First Avenger. Not to compare it to a Marvel movie, chill the fuck out DC fans, small comparison. If I had to give one negative as far as characters, and I know I usually save negatives for later, but I'm going to get it out of the way now because this is honestly the only negative I have with this entire movie, is Danny Houston's character. And it's not necessarily his character, because his character is utilized well for the story and what his villainous role needs it to be. Can't really give too much detail, otherwise it's going to be spoilers. But Danny Houston just really hams it up. And anything that he's ever done, really, he really hams it up. He throws cheese out there, he's chewing up the scenery, and he really feels out of place. He feels like he's in a different movie altogether, and I didn't love what they were doing with his character. Ultimately, in the third act, they do pull it out of the hat and kind of make that flaw acceptable. Again, can't really give any spoilers, but you'll understand what I'm talking about if you see the movie. So it's a very small negative, but he's the only character where I'm like, I'm just not buying this guy. And if I can be honest, I'm getting a little bit wore thin on kind of the generic stock evil German bad guy. We've seen it a million times. I know it fits the time frame of when this movie came out, World War I, but I've seen it a million times. I've seen it done better. Now let's talk about the story, because this is the element of things that the DCEU so far, with the exception of Man of Steel, in my opinion, has really slipped up on. They really try to throw a bunch of things in there. There's not a whole lot of a cohesive flow to their stories. They're just trying to really fast forward to catch up to get to where the Justice League is so they can be right alongside Marvel. And I'm here to relieve you that Wonder Woman really takes its time and tells the story that it needs to tell. From the very beginning, when she's a little girl, telling you all the way up to whenever she's an adult, how much she's trained, how much she has really had this will to be the best warrior of the Amazons, why she is worthy of the name of Wonder Woman, why she is worthy to wield the weapon of the God Killer, why she is so determined to leave everything that she has ever known in her entire life for good to go and help innocent people. You buy into that, and that's the characters that we need to have in the DCEU. We've seen the somber side, we've seen the really down side, we've seen death, we've seen darkness, we've seen destruction. It's time for some levity, it's time for some positivity, and that's what Wonder Woman is. She's a hero that you can get behind, and it actually really intrigues me and excites me, even though I have my doubts about Justice League, about seeing her interaction with Bruce Wayne, about how she is going to be a good foil for him, how she's going to be that symbol for hope and that push to make him that superhero that he can be when Superman is gone. Because Bruce Wayne, the one that we have in this current universe, is down. He doesn't believe in hope, he doesn't believe in good, he doesn't believe in humanity, and Wonder Woman is the perfect character to show him why you should believe in all of those things. And ultimately what I love about the story of Wonder Woman and how they really tailored the story of Princess Diana in this movie is that it's not your stock origin story where you have a superhero that just discovers their powers and they're trying to build up enough strength throughout 90 minutes to finally take down the big bad in the third act. There's elements of that, but that's not what the core story of this movie is about. It's about a character who is good down to her core, who is built and driven to protect the innocent, to protect humanity, finally getting exposed to the flaws of humanity, but seeing through those flaws and seeing the good in humanity and the reason why there is ultimately hope in the end, and there is a reason to protect that hope. Even when you're watching the big climactic third act showdown between her and the main villain of this movie, to me, I wasn't watching a hero triumphing over a villain. I was watching a hero triumphing over her doubt of humanity. And that was incredible how they were able to blend those two things simultaneously in the same story. And while I'm talking about the story, there's one detail at the very beginning of the movie and the very end of the movie that I need to comment on because I was really happy with the way that they did this. The way that they incorporate the story of this movie into the overall picture of the DCEU was masterfully done because it's done really tastefully. It really enhances the story and really caters to the story of who Princess Diana is and the journey she goes on in this movie. It's actually kind of a really emotional moment whenever it all comes together towards the end, but it doesn't distract from the fact that this is a Wonder Woman movie. There's not Batman cameos, there's not the Flash cameos, nobody's flying by in a red cape, none of that's going on. There's just a small little detail that lets you know, just in case you weren't aware, this is in the DCEU along with Batman v Superman and Man of Steel and all that, but it doesn't distract from the movie at all. It actually adds to it. So I thought that was a small detail that they nailed in this. And a lot of the credit I gotta give to the director, Patty Jenkins. I mean, we were all really optimistic from the time that this woman got signed on. The director of Monster is directing your Wonder Woman movie. That's like a dream come true. And luckily, they utilized her. They let her make the movie she wanted to make, and we have the Wonder Woman awesome, badass masterpiece movie that we have in front of us now because they trusted their director. And I hope that this is a sign of things to come for the DCEU because they have a lot of great directors and a lot of great writers on their billing currently to do some of the movies that are already planned. And as long as they let them make their movie the way that they let Patty Jenkins make her Wonder Woman movie, we're all going to be just fine. But seriously, Patty Jenkins did an incredible job. I love the way that she really structured and divided up this movie into 3 separate acts because each act has its own flavor, its own tone, and they somehow all blend together to make one really cohesive story. And that's not easy to do. Like, your first act is definitely your sword and sandals movie. You get introduced to the island of Themyscira, you get introduced to the world of the Amazonians, you got Diana, and from birth all the way up to an adult, you get all of that great stuff. The second act is more of a period piece. You get a little bit of spy movie flavor in there. That's where a lot of the budding romance and the relationship between Chris Pine and Gal Gadot really starts to grow.
Stand back. Or maybe not.
And then your third act is your war movie. That's when World War I, that whole setting really starts to take shape. You get Princess Diana shedding all of her clothes to unveil that awesome armor that looks unbelievable on Gal Gadot, by the way, walking into a hail of gunfire, showing what she is made of, what she is here to do, what she is here to represent. And from then on, it is just balls to the wall, great action scenes, great set pieces, a lot of amazing camera work, especially when they're doing like horseback riding and everything. The way that they shoot between the trees and the way that Patty Jenkins really framed a lot of shots whenever they're doing fight scenes, and you see a lot of these slow-mo flips around, and there's no point in the action scenes when you can't tell what's going on. It's all really cohesive, it's all really focused. All of that came together awesome. All of the action in this movie is awesome. It's all directed great. Gal Gadot is really physical. You could tell that she really trained for this role, and she was not taking the role of Wonder Woman lightly. She wasn't taking it as a paycheck. She is here to bring you the iconic female superhero that Wonder Woman is. And the last thing that I really need to nail down in this review is that the score in this movie is fucking incredible. Now, I am not a guy that talks about scores very often. I don't know very many composers' names. I don't really have soundtracks or any kind of scores on my iPod that I'm listening to, and it's honestly a weakness whenever you look at me in trivia games, Sean. But from the opening frame of this movie, the score literally grabbed a hold of me. It's one of the greatest superhero scores that I've ever heard in my life, and I might even download it to listen to it some more because it is that fucking good. The score itself is telling the story alongside the movie. You could almost close your eyes and just listen to the score for 2 hours, and the music is going to take you through the same journey that Patty Jenkins, Chris Pine, and Gal Gadot take you in while watching these characters. It's incredible. So to wrap all this up, guys, Wonder Woman is an incredible superhero movie. It's a great origin story. It's an incredible piece of the DCEU that we so badly needed. and it just gives you a huge symbol of hope and optimism for what's to come out of the DCEU. Gal Gadot absolutely nailed it. I fell in love with her over the runtime of this movie. Yes, I'm saying it again, I fell in love with her. Chris Pine was incredible, Patty Jenkins was incredible, the score was incredible. Only one tiny little weakness with one of the villain characters that's easily glossed over because of the way that they utilized that character. This movie was just a wild ride. It was an absolute joy to watch. I think just about everybody is going to be pleased by this. I can't think of anybody who will watch this story, see these characters, and see Gal Gadot's performance especially, and walk away turning their nose up. I think this is one of the best comic book movies to ever be made. It's definitely one of the best DC movies to be made since The Dark Knight, and it's absolutely worth your attention, worth your time, and worth your money. So go see it in theaters, and then when it comes out on home video, go out and buy it. So what did you guys think of Wonder Woman? Is this the best DCEU movie that we have gotten yet? I'm still on the fence about that or Man of Steel. Keep an eye out for my ranking video I'll be having this weekend where I finally have to make that decision. I need to watch Man of Steel one more time, but it's definitely going to be a tight race. Is this your favorite DC movie that's come out since The Dark Knight? Do you love Gal Gadot? Do you hate Gal Gadot? Do you love everything that this movie brought, or do you feel like the DC still has room to grow and room to improve? Put all of your thoughts on the DCEU, comic books in general, and Wonder Woman down in the comment section below, and we'll talk about it, guys. Please like and share this video, and hit that subscribe button. That way you get to come back and check me out next time. And you can also follow me on some of my social media links by clicking down below for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or my new Patreon page, where I'm going to have a lot of cool exclusive content for patron eyes only, like movie commentaries or exclusive movie reviews that you pick the movie for me to review. Lots of cool stuff coming your way, so definitely check that out. Check down below for some of my Amazon affiliate links for some of the other DC movies that we've gotten over the years. And if you want to check out some more of my videos, you can check out a few more by clicking right over here.